What is up, and welcome back to the Talking Nutrition Podcast. We are back with a Q&A episode. Today we have a recording from our kind of like secret behind closed doors mini challenge that we did February 19th through 23rd. We talked about mindset, training, nutrition. We talked about taking action, basically, like really doing something for your goals, and planning, periodization, a lot of good stuff. And again, like I said, it was a little bit of like a kind of like a secret, kind of behind closed doors challenge, because I mean, first of all, 5 days is very short, but I wanted to kind of see who's paying attention here. And I sent it out to our newsletter only, a couple of people on Instagram, handful of people kind of joined. And you know what? It's been great. It's been really cool, and it always shows who's the real action taker. So I don't mind sharing numbers and stuff. So we had 17 people join us for this, which is really cool. It was very last minute. It was a free mini challenge. And it always just, again, like I said, it shows who's the real action taker, who pays attention, who is willing to take action, and who actually signs up for something like this. And I told everyone, like, guys, listen, before we even get started, a 5-day mini challenge that's free comes with a few downsides. First of all, it's free, so you're very likely to not take it serious. And then again, same kind of thing with the 5 days. It's very short. We can talk about a lot of stuff, and we've been doing that, right? 5 days in a row, I've been going live for 45 minutes to teach and to answer questions. And we've done that for free. Why? Because we want to help our people. And we want to help you. I also want you to know that we're doing more challenges, right? So if you're not a member of our Facebook group yet, I highly encourage you to join us. So if you're not a member, I'm going to drop, I was going to say drink, I'm going to drop the link in the show notes and join us. It's a free group, and we do challenges. We do sometimes live trainings and free resources and those kind of things. Go check it out. No strings attached, no like sales or shit. Like, I just want to help you, and I want to have a place where we can meet, basically. And then if you want to join us for that next challenge, feel free to do so. Now, today we are going to get into a Q&A. Like I said, we had just about 17 people show up. And then I think just about half are like consistently, asking questions, which is usually how it goes with, challenges in general. And you know what? We covered a lot of good stuff. So let's get into it. Next week, we're going to get into the next part. And then, of course, as we go through this, so it's going to be a total of 5. We are going to basically cover anything from nutrition to mindset to planning and periodization to taking action and training. That's what it was. I always forgot training and movement. So all together, all important stuff. Let's dive into it. And we are recording. Now it's official. Okay, what's up, guys? Day 1 of our mini challenge. So what we're going to be doing here is go through a bit of a mini training on mindset. We're going to talk all or nothing. We're going to talk, growth mindset. We're going to try to become a little bit more solution focused instead of problem focused, right? I want you to be proactive here. And the 17 people who are on this mini challenge with me, you are here for a reason. You are here because you took action, right? So that being said, for the next 5 days, because it's only a 5-day mini challenge, I want you to show up for yourself. You're not doing this for me. You're doing this for yourself. In 5 days, we do not get a real good chance to really connect and really get shit done and create results. But in 5 days, we can build the foundation, and we can give you a few takeaways and tools so that you can grow this year. There's a reason we wanted to do a bonus little challenge for a select few people. Again, we have 17 people in this group, right? In this mini challenge, I should say. I want every single one of you to really give this challenge like your everything. Make sense? Now, that being said, some of you just joined. Amazing. Awesome. Some of you already signed up like early on. Cool. Promise yourself that these 5 days, you will take this series and that you will do what it takes to hit your steps, to hit your fruits and vegetables, and to most importantly, be involved in the Q&A. So today we have a few questions. Let me see real quick. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 that we're going to dive into, right? I expect more questions for the next few calls. We have 4 out of 17 people currently asking questions. So let's step it up, guys. I am literally giving you free coaching here, right? It's a free mini challenge. I'm going live every single day for 5 days in a row. You get a lot of my time. Make use of it. You know what I mean? Make use of it. Again, it's literally free coaching. If you are currently in a spot, whether it's about taking action, nutrition, your mindset, your training, whatever it is, you're planning, we're going to dive into it now and we're going to help you move forward. Make sense? Before we really get into mindset, I want you to know one thing and realize one thing. Everything is going to take, you actually doing something about the situation. Everything is going to boil down to you taking action. Everything. We can talk about the mindset, sure. We can talk about planning, whatever, but it's not until you do something about it, right? That's when you see the difference when you actually do something about it. When it comes to training, nutrition, mindset, all the good stuff. We can talk about the theory, which we're doing here, but until you apply what you learn, you will stay in the exact same spot. And I don't want you to stay there. I want you to grow. So for these 5 days, again, full just attention, do something with this stuff. I have a few specific questions I want you to ask yourself. This is not for any bonus points whatsoever. This is you actually getting a chance to challenge yourself, right? This is me asking you questions that will push you to grow, that will push you to get a little uncomfortable, and anything in between. And most importantly, do something about it. Again, we're here to take action. So that being said, why are we here? Today we're going to talk about mindset. Let's start with labeling yourself. Well, let's start with a fixed mindset, right? Where do we have a fixed mindset? Do you label yourself with, I'm just not good at this, right? Or I always give up, or whatever it is. Or you're very problem focused. Do you often think all or nothing, where it, like, I mean, we saw this in January, right? We're almost into March now. We saw it in January again. Does it have to be everything all at once with no plan? It's just like, hey, we're going to do everything. We're going to track macros, eat clean, do our cardio, all these kind of things. And then we're going to do 75 hard and all the crazy stuff. And then we notice like, hey, it's unsustainable. So it turns into nothing, right? Knowing that all or nothing, it never works, right? Because all is unsustainable. Nothing doesn't get you anywhere. And again, like I said just earlier, like, are you very problem focused? Are you always just looking at that skill number without doing something about it, right? Are we always just blaming the situation on other people and other circumstances? Or are we actually proactive? Because that's where I want you to get to. Because instead of labeling yourself and instead of saying, hey, this is just not for me and I'm never going to get it, right? Or I'm not someone who can do XYZ. Instead, we should create what's called a growth mindset. In the growth mindset, we have a whole different approach to these kind of things. With a growth mindset, we realize that we can always grow. I mean, it's in the word, right? But we realize that no matter where we're at, maybe we're terrible at something, that it's okay. We're just not good at it yet. And those 3 letters are massive, yet. We might not be good at something, but that's okay. As long as you realize that it yet needs to be behind that sentence, you will be able to grow. Because now we can flip it and we can say, oh, you know what? I really suck at tracking macros. I really suck at this whole dieting thing. Hey, if you're an athlete or, like Sarah, for example, like, I really suck at XYZ. Instead of that, like, can we just say, hey, I'm just not good at it yet? And some additional kind of like character traits of the growth mindset first, the fixed mindset. Are you someone who avoids challenges? Or are you someone who kind of embraces the challenge? Are you someone who actually thinks, hey, you know what? It's going to make me a little uncomfortable, but I'm going to do something about it, right? Are you someone who continuously just gives up as soon as they're met with an obstacle? You get defensive, or you give up? Or are you someone who's just going to keep pushing anyway? We're going to push through that wall. Might take a couple tries, and that's okay. But eventually, we know that we can get to that point, right? We want to create that desire to learn and to grow and to continuously, right, become better. That fixed mindset is like, oh, I'm doomed anyway. You see, like how useless that mindset really is. Because who are we kidding? Like we're trying to reach our own goals. So why not also understand, right, that just how you would tell your friend or family member, like, hey, you know what? Like, don't be so hard on yourself. Like, let's just figure this out, right? Why would you like not approach your own mindset here the same way, your own journey? I don't know it's easier said than done, but I got to be very direct here. We can figure this out, you know. But you need to start paying attention to those little things, because knowing the difference between fixed and growth mindset is one thing, but where is showing up in life and which kind of things, like I said, right? Because effort is just required to grow anyway. But like the growth mindset person, like they see effort as the path to mastery, right? The fixed mindset person kind of sees it as like, right, it's not gonna like get anywhere anyway. It's just effort, but there's no outcome. And especially with that fixed mindset, it's like with criticism and stuff, they kind of ignore the negative feedback. While the growth mindset, and this is a huge one. Like this is probably one of the biggest parts of our whole coaching company. Is like we collect weekly feedback so that we can reflect and learn and get better. That's the whole process of cultivating growth mindset. It takes time also, by the way. I want you to know that it does take time. It really does. And that is okay. At least if we have the growth mindset, we think it's okay, right? What about success of others? When you see someone else reaching the goal that you want to achieve, right? Whether that's weight loss, muscle gain, performance, whatever it may be, financial, I don't know, relationships. When you see someone else be successful, what do you think? What do you say to yourself? Right? Do you feel jealous? Do you feel threatened by their success? Or are we just going to be that growth mindset person who knows, hey, instead of beating myself up that, right, this person is better than me, or instead of being like, hey, they're doing this better than me, so fuck him. Like, no, let's have a conversation with the person and let's work proactively towards, hey, can we get some inspiration from those people? Because hey, if they can do it, I can do it, right? And can we also find lessons there? And hey, you know what? Can we actually ask that person what they did to cultivate that mindset? More productive, right? Now, when it comes to the all or nothing thinking, shouldn't we think, hey, let's just try to be maybe like an 80%. I want you to remember 80%, right? Instead of being super strict and diligent during the week, and then every single weekend we binge eat and we drink like crazy. Instead of that, right? Instead of doing good right before your vacation, trying to rush that fat loss, right? And then you go on vacation and then you enjoy, or when you go on your evening out or whatever it may be. Instead of doing that, do we think that it may be a better idea to, again, cultivate, right? These are all things that we're going to have to work on, guys. It's going to take time. Give yourself the time. But are we going to go with that where it's like all or nothing? And again, like all is unsustainable. Nothing doesn't get us anywhere. Are we going to just try and do our best to get to that 80%? Also allow ourselves to take imperfect action, because that's really the name of the game here. The the art of taking imperfect action, I like to call it sometimes. But like all joking aside, it's like when I started with our podcast, for example, the first few episodes, I feel like super cringy. Like still, if I see it, I'm like, and that's okay. But you got to start somewhere. When you step into that gym, the first time you're not gonna know, you're not gonna understand the program or how to do the movements. So what? Everyone starts there. You're like, but like, why wouldn't we step into that gym because we are not good at it? That's the whole point. Like we go there so we get better at that point, you know? So think 80/20. When you think food quality, right? Can I just mostly focus on like, 80% whole foods? And we'll talk more about nutrition, but like 80%, right? Can I do my best to just about 80% like hit my macros and hit my steps and get my training in and sleep well and my hydration? Can I try to finally allow myself to be a little imperfect and then still see results? Because trust me, like with 80% consistency, you will most definitely reach your goals. Is 90% going to be a little better? Yeah, sure. 100% objectively, yeah, but like it's going to be unsustainable again. So 80, 90%, especially 80, like if you're like mostly like a lifestyle kind of person like me, absolutely, like that is going to be just fine to reach your goals. And that sounds pretty doable, right? Let's zoom out even, not even like on a daily basis, but if we zoom out, okay, if 80% of my year I'm doing fine, that 20%, the weekends, the evenings out, the vacations, the holidays, the family, whatever, I actually get to be more flexible, enjoy more, and be fine. You see, it's not eating healthy and enjoying. It's like eating healthy and enjoying and combining the two without spinning our wheels and always kind of get up and down and yo-yo, right? Like, no, we do both. It's like we eat healthy most of the time. We allow for some flexibility every now and then. And you'd be surprised how incredible your results will be because only this time, right, you can actually get to that point. When it comes to becoming resourceful, right, we talked about being very problem focused. It's that fixed mindset stuff. What do you do? It's like how do you respond when things don't really go as planned? When right, we always want to blame everyone, and everything. Guess what? At the end of the day, it's your problem to figure out. At the end of the day, I can't do it for you. At the end of the day, no one can, only you. And that's actually very liberating. It also means that you have to own up to your situation currently, which is hard. And I don't even like saying that, but it is it's truth, right? We need to own up to the situation so that we can grow and we can figure it out. Because here's the cool thing too, right? We can, as long as we try to calm down and zoom out. Because what do you do when and this analogy is used all over the place, and you might have heard it already, but I'm still going to bring it up. What do you do? Like, imagine, right? When you're driving around and you get a flat tire, you pull over, like, what do you do? Bit of a weird analogy here, but bear with me if you haven't heard it yet. So, imagine we're driving our car, flat tire, we pull over and we're frustrated, we're angry, and you know what? We get out, we're yelling, right? We don't even call for help. Like, no, we're yelling, we're kicking the car, we're punching the windows. You know what? I'm going to grab a knife, I'm going to get out, and all three other tires, I'm going to stab him, right? Being very emotional in the moment, right? Frustration get the best of me. And guess what? Now we made it worse. Way worse than it had to be. Or, and it sounds funny, right? But that's exactly what you're doing with your nutrition. If you have one little slip up and then you allow yourself to let that snowball into whatever you want to call it, a binge or whatever, right? That's exactly what you're doing. And again, I'm being very direct here, but I need to call you on in your shit sometimes so that you can grow. Because in these 5 days, I'm going to have to push you a little bit. And then if we can take action on it, we can grow and become better. Because this is where I want you to get to. This is where I want you to get to. Instead of, right? I mean, same problem comes up. Because, hey, guess the problems are going to be there, guys. Guess what? Like, they're always going to be there. But okay, we're driving, flat tire. Okay, shit. Okay. Yes, we're going to feel frustrated, of course. That is okay. I'm not saying we're not going to have the feelings, but we're not going to act on those feelings. We're going to pull over. We're going to keep our calm. We're going to keep cool. We're going to zoom out and we're going to think, okay, what can I do about the situation currently? How can I figure this out? Hey, you know what? Before I even call for help, let me actually get out and try to fix this myself. Can I get out, look for that spare tire? Usually we have one. Do I have the tools? Can I just fix that tire right there, right then? And hey, if not, ask for help, ask someone on the road, whatever it may be. Resourcefulness, a different word for figuring shit out, because problems will come up, and that's okay because problems have solutions. We just need to find that solution. And then it's going to be a process. So now kind of getting to right the challenging questions very soon. What are we going to do moving forward? First of all, and we actually got a question about growth mindset as well, but I want to briefly answer it here, and then we'll dive into it a little bit more. When it comes to cultivating a growth mindset, let's go on a fixed mindset hunt first, because we need to create awareness around your current state so that we can change it. Where is your fixed mindset showing up so that we can then recognize it and then work on it? Right? It's like first identifying our current state and then creating that awareness and then trying to figure out proactively, there's that word again, proactive, right? Resourcefulness. What can we do about that situation so I can become better? Then we're going to get into going from the all or nothing to a more flexible 80-20 mindset. Again, I want you to ask yourself, like, where is it showing up and what can we do? And the overall framework for figuring things out. Hey, by the way, like write this down. Grab a piece of paper, write these three words down. And it's going to be a little bit of bonus, but the framework for always just leveling up is very simple. It's 3 words. It's plan, execute, and then reflect. And that's supposed to be repeated. And that's how this works. When you want to create the growth mindset, when you want to establish that 80-20 principle and live by it, right? When you want to become resourceful, when you need to teach yourself, like, hey, actually, I got to zoom out first, and right? When that's the case, we first just want to have a plan because in a way, right? We know something is going to come up. And I want you to think about this now. Maybe you're currently killing it. Awesome. But what's going to come up, right? Maybe I know that I tend to have a fixed mindset in this field. Okay, cool. Let's hold on to that thought for a little bit, right? I know that I'm very all or nothing with this. I know that right here, I'm usually very problem focused. I need to become more resourceful. Okay, now let's make a plan. Then when the moment comes up, and let's think about the all or nothing. Like let's imagine, okay, we have our weekend. We tend to struggle with the weekends. Okay, we're gonna plan for the weekend, and then upcoming Friday, Saturday. Sorry, I have something in my eye. Upcoming Friday, Saturday, and maybe Sunday, we're gonna execute on your plan. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? And I don't want you to give up, but we're gonna execute on that plan. Then the third word, reflect, right? So we had plan, execute, reflect. Next week, sit down for a moment, or even the next day, whatever it is, but sit down and look back at, hey, how did I do? This was my plan. This is what actually in reality happened. What went well? What needs to be better? And how will I do that? That's really where my questions kind of come in today. But I don't know what I got in my eye, but it's very, very itchy. So that being said, what do I want you to take action on today? I want you to grab an actual, piece of paper and a pen right now, because I always like writing stuff better than anything. Grab a piece of a piece of paper and a pen, and I want you to write down the following 3 questions. I'll make sure these get emailed to everyone as well. Answer these 3 questions for yourself. You don't have to post this anywhere. This is not for points. These 3 questions today are going to be crucial for you to grow in, moving forward in the future. So first question, write this down, right? And I actually mean it, like write this down and you will grow from it. First of all, where is my mindset at its strongest? Because I do want you to recognize where you are actually killing it, where you are actually doing good. I want you to pay attention to that. What are your strong points? Where's your mindset actually in a good spot? Because we want to rely on that good stuff. We all have our strong points. Work, like keep that up, right? Like that's rely on that. Now, when it comes to the other side, we're trying to grow here. Write down again, where is my mindset currently holding me back? Where do I like where in life are you seeing that fixed mindset show up, right? So again, like where is my mindset holding me back? And the last question, how will I improve that? So I want you to point out your strong points. I want you to point out, hey, where's that fixed mindset showing up? And then most importantly, resourceful, right? Figuring things out. I want you to try and find a solution to fixing that problem, right? Because every problem has a solution. That's why we call it a problem. We're not doomed. We're here to grow. Again, how will I improve that? I'm going to make sure this gets sent out to everyone in the email. I'm going to run through the Q&A, and then we are wrapping up our first day. Of course, if you're not hitting your steps yet, go and get them in. If you haven't had your 5 servings of fruits and veggies, let's get them in, right? Okay, so really good question from Erica as well. I really like that one. So that's definitely something I've been thinking about recently. So, okay, so Erica says, when you're just getting started, how do you get a healthy mindset and keep out the unsolicited opinions, advice, and constant flow of tips and tricks of the world around you? Erica, I think this is a great question. Really good. And here's the thing. There's definitely an overload of tips and tricks and different opinions and advice. And I could go on a whole rant here, but I'm going to try and keep it to the point. I'm not good at keeping short answers, but okay. And in a way, I'm kind of contributing because I also post content. I also post content about nutrition and those kind of things. However, here's the issue, right? Not everyone recognizes the difference between what a completely fit person needs and what's optimal, and a sick, right, person who's maybe overweight, right, thyroid conditions, gut health, whatever it is, and anything in between. We need to understand that people are like anyone lives on a spectrum of like, right, just being either like the fittest person and a very unhealthy person and then everything in between. And right, where are we currently at? That is going to dictate what kind of help you need. And this is where I'm not going to pitch coaching here, but like this is the beauty of coaching, because you're going to have someone on your team who can figure this out with you, right? Now, there's a big difference there, which is why you'll see so many um, different opinions and discussions and people attacking each other. It's like, hey, sure, maybe this person is purposely spreading bullshit, because that's also the case in many cases. Unfortunately, there's a lot of bad stuff out there. But hey, maybe like this person also shouldn't necessarily go against them, because hey, like how is that helpful? So my number one advice here for you is going to be 2 steps. First of all, this is what I personally did, right? So back in 2012 at 13, I lost in pounds. What was it again? 30 pounds, I think it was. Yeah, 30 pounds. No, wait, hang on. 6, 40, 50? No, think about it. It was 30 kilos, 50, 60 pounds. Okay. So I lost, okay, 30 kilos, right? So 50, 60 pounds, whatever that is. This is what I did, because I was there too. I was trying to figure it out. And this is back in 2012, right? So there's no social media, no those kind of things. But trust me, the misinformation was going around already. My coach at the time at the CrossFit gym, he was for me to kind of like that role model, my guide, right? My mentor, whatever you want to call it, my coach, right? As much as it wasn't an official nutrition coaching setting, he was that person for me. So this is my first tip for you. Is like find someone, and hey, by the way, if that's me, awesome. I'm happy to help you, and I'll answer any question, right? Or if it's in your direct environment, cool. Like ask someone at your gym, ask a friend, a family member, but look for someone who's been there, done that, right? Who has achieved the goal that we are trying to achieve, and start there. It may not always be right, because not everyone knows their shit, but it may be a good starting point at least. Or get a coach, of course. Second is unfollow. Unfollow a lot of accounts. Because what I've really seen is that the more we overload ourselves with information, the more confusing it's going to be. And at the end of the day, like, are we really benefiting off of it? Or is it just all just information and all different opinions? And right. I think sometimes we need a little bit of a detox from like certain social media accounts or whatever it is. And I know these days there's a lot of content that just gets served up. But remember too, and we could like social media could be a whole rabbit hole too. With social media, at the end of the day, like I said before, right? Owning the situation. Like if I'm using social media too much, that's not social media, that is me. Now, again, social media does kind of like currently at least is like crack for the brain, you know what I mean? So yes, they are making it very addictive with the quick hit, hits of dopamine, etc. But still, as the person using the phone, like we are still in control, which means that we can hide, block certain accounts, unfollow, etc. So that would be my second point. If you're getting a lot of information in, just boil it down to one person, maybe a few, but just for now, if you're at the start of your journey, because you mentioned, hey, just getting started, just follow one person, but just make sure that that person knows where you are at, right? Or I should say, speaks to the person, right? Similar to where you're at. Because if you are getting started, hey, like we might benefit off following a certain person account who speaks to, hey, people at the beginning of their fitness journey. And maybe not the super optimal whatever, right? That's okay. But we need to understand that this is my biggest issue with currently the state of like social media and stuff and information. There's so much going around. Some of it is bullshit, some of it is true. But like the nuance of nutrition and understanding that someone is a real individual and then meeting them where they're at, that's not being translated in those kind of posts. Make sense? And again, hit me up, message me, happy to help anytime. And I really mean that, right? I really mean that. So Sarah says, how to avoid an all or nothing mindset when it comes to nutrition and or how to find a good balance. Yeah, really good question. I would love to. So I'm going to answer you with a question here, which is kind of like what we talked about. I want you to think because you mentioned, okay, with nutrition, you have all or nothing mindset. What specifically is the problem? Like, where is it showing up? Is it a situation? Is it a scenario, etc.? And then do that framework, right? You know what? Like, even just start with reflect. I should really just flip it and say reflect and then plan, execute, and then we just repeat. Because if you know you have an all or nothing mindset, let's reflect on those moments and really try to visualize it, the moment, the scenario, the people we're with, etc. Then make a plan so that next time we can practice doing better. And if you don't know, like hit me up for help if you want to. And then of course we always, right, we plan, execute, and then we reflect again so that we can always get better, which really speaks to the next question from Christine. I was like, hey, how can one cultivate a growth mindset to embrace challenges and persist in the face of obstacles? Yeah, it's gonna be one that's gonna require work. Um, which is again like we get into this mini challenge and it's like, hey, sure, right? We could talk about these things, but it's action. It's action, action, action. Like I said just now, right? Let's put on your detective hat and let's go on a fixed mindset hunt. And I mean that. Really address your life. Like, where is that fixed mindset showing up? Because you know what it is? I could give you a general, answer. This is exactly what I just meant with like the right on social media, just answers being thrown around. I could give you a general answer, but you know what it is to make it even more confusing? You can have a fixed mindset in one area of life and a growth mindset in something else. You see? So that's why I'm going to ask you to really think of, okay, where is it showing up? Because the challenges will come up and we need to keep going. That's literally the only way. And let me give you the secret to everyone who's ever been successful in every aspect of life, business, whatever it may be, right? Fitness, is they always just kept going. That's literally the only thing. That's the only thing. Because failure doesn't make you a failure, right? It doesn't. You can only fail if you give up because of a little failure. Make sense? So I want you to also keep that mindset because the obstacles, they will be there. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The challenges, they will be there. I'm not going to lie. We can sometimes set our environment up for things to not happen as often, but stuff will come up. And guess what? We're going to have to still figure it out because on this journey, right, this fitness journey, because it's not reaching your goal, we're done. Like, no, it's an ongoing thing. Every time we hit like a level of like, hey, we're at that new level. Oh shit, like now there's another challenge. And you know what? I'm always stoked because anytime, for example, a client checks in with me and they're like, I really, right, I'm worried about the weekend. We're going out for food. I don't really know what to do. I'm like, yes, cool, good. Because we're about to grow, we're about to learn. So I want you to flip it here. And instead of challenge, instead of obstacle, just seeing it as a learning opportunity. Because there's two things that can happen when you hit a roadblock, when you hit a challenge. It's one, you mess up. Doesn't make you failure, but like one, you either mess up and then you learn because we just found out what doesn't work. So now we're going to look at what went well, what needs more work, and how will we do next time. That's again, reflect, plan, execute. Just keep repeating that. And then trust me, eventually you'll know. Now a coach can help you and kind of like create the shortcut to like, hey, let's do these kind of things. But either way, it's going to be an ongoing process. Um, where were we? Because I totally just blanked out for that one for a second. Yeah, a second, sorry. So again, right, that's what happens when you make a mistake. It doesn't make you failure. It's just like, hey, we learn. Or you're successful and you grow. So you see, there's no like you're not messing up. You're not truly a failure unless, of course, you actually stop putting in the work. You stop putting in the action. That's the main thing here. So again, learning opportunities. Um, Lisa says, I have a friend who loves meditating and believes it's great for his journey for their health. Absolutely. Like I love meditation as well. And then she says, I've never been able to get a state of mind to meditate. Am I missing out? Would this help me in my journey for a healthier lifestyle? Yes. The short answer is yes. Think about it this way, guys. I think as like these days, meditation is becoming more accepted. It's more common to do it, and I love it. Um, to where before it was mostly just kind of like, like hippies and stuff. Nothing against hippies, but like you know what I mean. The way the way I look at things is like you can do the spiritual work without being a weirdo about it, you know? Um, and that being said, meditation is not weird. It's right. All meditation is something that most people don't do. We're not used to creating stillness in our life. We're not used to slowing down for once. We're not used to just sitting down with our eyes closed for even 5 minutes or 10 or whatever it is. It's almost like we're afraid of that stillness of what it's going to bring. And guess where the most important mindset work shows up? And you know what, Lisa? I'm very happy that you asked this question. Guess where the most important mindset work shows up? Is when you slow down and you're with your own thoughts. Now, let me say this too, because I had a hard time getting into meditation. It's been years now. I had a really hard time getting into it. I got into it using Headspace. I do really like that app. They do have a free trial, I think. Um, but you know what it is? It's it's doing it. First of all, again, action. Like you have to actually do it because you mentioned, hey, I'm never able, right? Or I've never been able to get a state of mind of meditation. Okay, you know what? I don't think I'm all the time. Like I don't think I achieve that state all the time. I've had times where I felt like, okay, that was a real meditation. You really get into that state, but a lot of times it's just me just sitting with my thoughts. And even just that's enough. You know what? You can do a walked meditation or walking meditation, a moving meditation, right? Where of course like you have your eyes open, but you could just be mindful. You can go on a walk and you just, right, you let your thoughts be and you just pay attention to that. Because it's not trying to think about something, or it's not trying to not think about anything. It's like, no, hey, like what comes up, and let's recognize it. But I would say trying to use Headspace, because there's a really nice kind of way to, depending on what you want to meditate for, you can follow almost like a mini course where they teach you how to do it. And it's guided. And then eventually you can move to unguided, to where, to be honest with you, right now, I just go to YouTube, type in 10 or 20 or whatever minute meditation music, and then there you go, right? You don't need the app whatsoever. Um, but Lisa, there's a lot of research on this. It lowers cortisol, right? It's, lowers anxiety. And you know what it is? We get so caught up in the busy day to day that even just taking the 10 minutes, because let's be honest, we all have 10 minutes, right? Even if we take the 10 minutes once a day, and you know what? Let's combine that with journaling. That's something I swear by. That's what I do every single time. Journaling as well. And these two things have also in the research been shown to help, right? Managing stress, working through problems, right? Journaling is even recommended when you go through therapy and stuff, right? They're all things that a lot of times people don't like to do because it's confronting. But as you might have already noticed today, we should exactly be doing that. We should be confronting ourselves. We should be asking ourselves difficult questions. Now, that being said, I gotta go. Thank you guys for this first call. Great questions. Again, it's a 5-day mini challenge. We don't have a lot of time together, but I want to give you as much value as possible. So I want you to know as well, right? Anyone who didn't submit a question today, no worries, right? Hit me up, right? You're going to get this email anyway, but like hit me up and drop the questions for tomorrow, right? The next 4 days, I'm still going to be here. So make sure to show up, drop a question, because we are here to learn. 5 days is nothing. Unless you give this your full like input, and you show up and you ask the questions and you're open to grow. So if you haven't yet, write these down. Question 1, where is my mindset at its strongest? Question 2, where's my mindset holding me back, right? Where's that fixed mindset showing up? And then 3 is like, how will I improve that? I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.